evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Special Economic Zone Authority of Duqm and Duqm Smart Businesses Company signed Usufruct agreement to develop a smart office facility. National Ferries Company launches its first journey to Iranian city of Shabar. Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons accuses Syrian government and opposition parties for using chemical weapons in Aleppo. And 4 people are killed and 14 wounded in a blast at Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of condolences to the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, on the death of His Royal Highness Prince Turki bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud. With the participation of around 120 runners from 26 countries, activities of the 4th Oman Desert Marathon concluded in the Wilayah of Bidia in the Governorate of North Sharqiya. The 6-day marathon witnessed tough competitions among the participants. The event came to introduce the touristic potential of the Sultanate, as well as to shed light on its position in international races, especially the ones involving desert races. The conclusion ceremony included the presentation of the marathon's 6 stages, as well as a variety of performances of Omani traditional arts. The concluding ceremony was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Abdul Munim bin Mansour Lazani, the Minister of Information. The Special Economic Zone Authority of Duqm and Duqm Smart Businesses Company signed a Usufruct agreement to develop the smart office facility constructed from shipping containers refurbished at the Special Economic Zone in Duqm. The agreement was signed by SEZAD by Chairman of the Board, His Excellency Yahya bin Saeed Al Jabri, and for Duqm Smart Businesses LLC by Marizo Monti, Founding Director. Pursuant to the agreement, Duqm Smart Business LLC will develop the project on the land allocated by SEZAD. The first phase of the project will provide 12 smart offices for shared usage by SME companies and startups in Duqm. The first phase of the project has already started and is projected for completion by the year's end. The new Smart Offices facility provides startups and small companies with a launch pad before moving to larger facilities in other parts of the economic zone. The National Ferries Company launched its first journey from Port Sultan Qaboos to Shabar city of Iran on board of the ferry Hormuz. The journey was coordinated with one of the travel and tour agents in the Sultanate. The turnout by passengers has been great, especially since the journey took less than 3.5 hours amidst a very convenient atmosphere and quick procedures. It should be noted that this year the National Ferries Company expanded its regional operations, especially to Iranian ports. Shabar is now the 3rd destination for the company, and Kasham and Bandar Abbas. The Oman Telecommunications Company announced the activation of 5 new stations on the road between Kantab and Asifa village for mobile phones that use 3G and 4G technologies. This step came to keep up with the agreement between Omantel and Moria Tourism Company to provide a number of fixed and mobile services for the Sifa Tourism Resort and its various facilities. The company also added a 6th station in addition to providing fiber optic services in an area near Kantab roundabout. The total direct premiums paid to insurance companies in 2015 amounted to more than 442 million Omani rials, up by 11.5% compared to 2014, with 396.5 million Omani rials direct premiums. Vehicle insurance policies amounted for more than 85.6% of the total insurance policies registered at the insurance companies. The insurance companies registered more than 1,436,000 policies in 2015. The total number of complaints and notices registered by Public Authority for Consumer Protection and Foodstuffs sector reached around 109,544 until September 2016. The annual statistics index reported issued by the authority pointed out that total commodities seized in the sector amounted to more than 2.5 million, including expired items and other violations. A workshop on radiation protection in interventional cardiology was held at the Royal Hospital under the auspice of His Excellency Dr. Darwish bin Saif Al Marabi, Under-Secretary for Administrative and Financial Affairs at the Ministry of Health. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Rubai.
With the development of interventional radiology, radiation protection has become increasingly important for both patient and staff. Interventional radiology is a diagnostic and treatment method of performing image-guided procedures. Hence, to protect human health from the possible harmful effects of radiation, the National Heart Center Department of Cardiac Catheterization Lab has organized this specific workshop to address the radiation safety principles for interventional cardiologists and paramedical staff working in this specialized area. The two-day workshop is being attended by over 100 staff led by Professor Madan Rehani, a well-known icon worldwide in radiation safety from Harvard Medical School and MGH Boston, USA.
This workshop actually to educate the interventional cardiologists, radiologists, the technicians and the staffing in the radiation area, like the cath lab, the interventional radiology lab, the nuclear medicine, about the risks of radiation and how to take measures to minimize the risk of radiation, whether it is to the operator or the housing staff in the cath lab or the patient himself.
X-ray is considered as an invisible enemy, which is we cannot see, and we got to know about this the nature of this enemy. How does it look like, and what are the effects of the, getting exposed to the X-ray?
Conclusion Day witnessed live demonstration in the angiography rooms where proper use of personal protective equipment were used. It is of great importance for all medical staff to receive radiation protection education in interventional radiology to protect themselves and their patients. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television.
Still to come in our news bulletin. Farmers in a mountainous Moroccan village are facing a daily struggle because of climate change, but a local organization has installed solar water pumps and rainwater basins for them in the mountains. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas met with Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev in the western bank city of Jericho and presided over the signing of the bilateral agreements in the economic, industrial and cultural sectors. The Palestinian president also told journalists he was ready to hold direct peace negotiations with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Peace talks between the two sides have stalled since April 2014. The US-sponsored talks that lasted for 9 months achieved no tangible results. The executive body of the global chemical arms watchdog took the unprecedented step of condemning Syria and the Daesh group for using toxic weapons, demanding increased inspections. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons also voiced concerns about gaps and discrepancies in Syria's 2013 declaration about the size of its toxic arms stockpile. The OPCW said the resolution, adopted by a rare majority vote, condemns in the strongest possible terms the use of chemical weapons in the Syrian Arab Republic. The OPCW body ordered inspections twice a year in the Syrian research centers, warning Damascus must facilitate promptly and fully cooperate with these inspections. The OPCW's resolution will now be submitted to the Security Council and at the annual conference of the agency's 192 member states, which opens on November 28th in The Hague. Syrian government forces have recaptured all of the areas taken by rebel fighters in the recent assault intended to break the government siege on eastern Aleppo. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the army had recaptured key areas, including the western districts of Daya al-Assad and the village of Minyan outside the city. The reversal undo all the progress made during a recent push by opposition fighters, including former al-Qaeda affiliate Fatah al-Sham Front, as they tried to end a government siege on eastern Aleppo city. The Taliban claimed responsibility for an explosion at the NATO airbase at Bagram north of the Afghan capital Kabul today, which officials said killed at least 4 people and wounded 14. The NATO-led Resolute Support Mission said in a statement that response teams at Bagram continue to treat the wounded and investigate the incident. There was no immediate word on the identity of the victims. The Taliban spokesman, Zabihullah Munjadi, claimed responsibility for the attack in a message on his Twitter account. The attack follows a suicide attack on the German consulate in the northern city late on Thursday night, which killed 4 people and wounded more than 100 others, underlining the precarious security across Afghanistan. Elite Iraqi forces were engaged in intense fighting with militants in eastern Mosul today as they tried to fortify positions before advancing further into the city. Iraqi forces launched a massive operation to retake the country's second city from Daesh group on October 17th, and the Counterterrorism Service, CTS, Special Forces have pushed the militants back from some Mosul neighborhoods. But there are still weeks, if not months, of fighting ahead in the battle to recapture the last Daesh-held Iraqi city. Staff Lieutenant Colonel Mandar Salam of CTS said the fighting was intense this morning. He added they're trying to fortify their positions in Arabarjiyah before continuing their attack in Al-Bakr. CTS forces launched an assault on Ajarbaya the day before, and Salam said they are trying to control of the area today. The European Commission announced it will provide €78 million in emergency aid to help those affected by the South Sudan crisis, both within and outside the country. The European Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid said €30 million of that amount would go specifically to Uganda, and he visited the Bidi refugee settlement there. €40 million will be allocated to the humanitarian organizations in South Sudan itself, and €80 million in neighboring Sudan, the Commission has said. It came as the UN Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide said South Sudan's festering civil war risks spiraling into a genocide, citing recent examples of ethnically targeted rape, civilians being killed with machetes, and villages being burned to the ground. The residents in a mountainous village in Morocco who largely survive on subsistence farming is becoming harder than ever, so an organization has set up pumps powered by the sun. Here is a report.
In the Moroccan village of Tafougalt, farmers like Mohammed are facing a daily struggle. Because of climate change, temperatures are rising, making rains increasingly unpredictable, and agriculture increasingly difficult. So an organization has set up pumps powered by the sun.
For many years, we brought water from far away. We used to spend 3 or 4 hours fetching water from 3 or 4 kilometers away.
Farmers used to pump groundwater with diesel-powered generators, but sunlight is unlimited in supplies and carries none of diesel's downsides, such as pollution. Siddiq has guarded the local well for 17 years.
Today, thank God, everything works with solar power. Before, petrol was expensive. Farmers would pay about $5 an hour for water. But today, for the same price, they can have 4 hours of water. It's encouraging. Farmers can make a living.
The organization has also installed large basins to collect rainwater.
These basins are used to collect rainwater. We are also working on how to collect the water present in fog.
Solar energy alone won't be enough to solve Tafougalt's water shortage. So researchers are now focusing on technology that can make the use of water more efficient.
And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over most of the governorates, with chances of high clouds over the governorates of Worcester and Dhofar. Low clouds and fog early morning and late at night are expected on the coastal areas. Winds will be north to northeasterly light to moderate on the coastal areas of the Sea of Oman, whilst on the rest of the coast it will be easterly to northeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Special Economic Zone Authority of Duqm and Duqm Smart Businesses Company signed USAFRUC agreement to develop a smart office facility. National Ferries Company launches its first journey to Iranian city of Shabar. Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons accuses Syrian government and opposition parties for using chemical weapons in Aleppo. And 4 people are killed and 14 wounded in a blast at Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsrooms and the studio, it's good night.